If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Tuesday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds today. Could see some pop-up snow showers. The high is only going to be 42. Tonight and overnight, some clouds, low 37. A little warmer for Wednesday, cloudy, high 49. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 33 and clear in Terrytown up in Westchester. It's 34 and clear in Irvington over in New Jersey. And it's 30 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
When will the nightmare at the airports end? Mayor-elect Mamdani makes some interesting moves. New moms worried about new cases of botulism. There is a yacht club murder mystery out on Long Island. And Giant fans trying to find something to smile about. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. The Senate has voted. They did last night to officially end the government shutdown.
On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended is passed.
Chamber voted to pass the funding bill, which now goes to the House. The measure would fund the government through January. It passed on a 60-40 vote. The House is not expected to take up the bill until Wednesday. That's at the earliest. Republican Senator Susan Collins says the passage of this bill is good news for federal workers.
We are going to reopen government. We're going to ensure that federal employees, whether they were furloughed or laid off or forced to work without pay, will now receive compensation.
The senator also thanking the Democrats who sided with the Republicans to get it done.
Our Democratic colleagues who courageously realized that we could not let this shutdown continue to go on.
Yeah, meanwhile, thousands of flights canceled again nationwide yesterday as the shutdown continues. The president of the Air Traffic Controllers Association says many flight directors continue to work, sometimes overtime, despite the fact that they have not been paid in a month.
We will continue to work with the administration. We'll continue to fight for it, and we'll continue showing up to work to ensure the safety of the American flying public, and we will do everything to get it back fully on track.
Yeah, but now a lot of them are showing up. The President Trump, threatening to dock the pay of air traffic controllers who do not return to work right away. He also recommended a $10,000 per person bonus for those who did not take time off.
Did it say the ones that stayed, of which there were a lot of them, I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace.
Yeah, that was him on Fox News last night. Air traffic controllers, the president, Nick Daniels, says frustrated travelers need to appreciate those still directing the flights.
Controllers continue to show up and step up, despite working full-time during the shutdown, and in many cases, mandatory overtime. Controllers continue to show up and step up for the American flying public and for each other. We want to thank all of the men and women who are currently serving in our armed forces and who protect our freedom and keep us safe every day and deserve to be paid as well.
Just to give you a sense how bad it was, just in the tri-state area, more than 300 flights were canceled Monday at New York City's big three area airports. The shortage of air traffic controllers still can wreak havoc on flyers across the country. The Senate, of course, voted overnight to advance the short-term funding bill to reopen the government, but the process to get everything back in order, that could take till the end of the week, maybe more.
It's messing up everyone around the country, and it's just not fair, I guess. It's insane. To be fair, I have a little bit of fear of flying, but it's getting a bit more scarier, personally.
Yeah, that was a flyer at LaGuardia yesterday. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he was on with Sid and Friends in the morning yesterday, also talking about the fact that it'll take a while, even when the government reopens, to get everything back in order.
We had incursions on the runways or on the tarmac, planes becoming too close. We had more pilots complaining to the FAA that the air traffic controllers seemed stressed, or there was a lack of responsiveness.
And that's why they pulled back on flights some 10%. But people at the airports yesterday, just at LaGuardia, 126 cancellations by noon.
I'm hopeful at least that maybe everybody experiencing this chaos will kind of force our government's hand in becoming some form of functional, because Democrat, Republican, whoever you are, no one wants to deal with the madness that we have dealt with attempting to travel.
And the blame game will continue. President Trump says he believes Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer went over the top in this shutdown fight.
Well, I think he made a mistake in going too far.
Going too far? How?
He just went too far. He thought he could break the Republicans, and the Republicans broke him.
And the government shutdown, it forced the White House to furlough nuclear weapons contractors. Experts warn there could be ramifications for slowing down the modernization of our defense systems.
The Chinese have doubled their nuclear arsenal. Well, we can't fall behind in terms of our national security, so this is starting to get very serious. When the government does reopen, all the research that they're conducting, they have to replow that ground.
Yeah, that's Professor Jeff Adicott, who heads the Warrior Defense Project at St. Mary's University in Texas. 5:05, funeral plans now set for the New York City firefighter who died after collapsing while fighting a blaze in Brooklyn Saturday night.
2 wakes for 42-year-old firefighter Patrick Brady are set for Friday afternoon and evening at Marine Park Funeral Home in Marine Park, Brooklyn. Brady's funeral will be Saturday morning at the Church of St. Francis de Sales in Belle Harbor. Brady was operating on the roof of an all-hands fire in Brooklyn Saturday when he suffered a medical episode and went into cardiac arrest. He died at a hospital. The 11-year department veteran is survived by his wife and 2 brothers who are also FDNY firefighters. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Mayor-elect Mamdani's new management team is starting to come together.
New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is starting to make appointments for his administration.
First, I want to announce my first deputy mayor, Dean Fulihan. I also want to announce my incoming chief of staff, the unparalleled L. Bisgard Church.
When asked how he'll handle negotiations with Albany on his agenda items, Mamdani says there will be a partnership in politics not seen in some time with state lawmakers. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
And after the socialist won last Tuesday, Zohran Mamdani, there is somebody who's even more to the left than he is. Upstate, the city there has gone full-blown. They elected a communist. This was the end of last week. 20-year-old Hannah Schvetz, who's a student organizer, member of the Communist Party USA. She was elected to the Ithaca Common Council last Thursday. So you thought that Zohran Mamdani was pretty left in Ithaca. They actually have a communist on the Ithaca Common Council now. WABC News Time 5:09. A Veterans Day tribute being held today at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum on Manhattan's West Side.
Around 3:30 in the afternoon, there will be a wreath-laying ceremony in the Hudson River honoring the sacrifices made by brave men and women who have served in the armed forces. Veterans will be there in attendance. The annual event with New York City's Veterans Services Commissioner James Hendon delivering remarks. And the event's open to all Intrepid Museum ticket holders and will be live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
And make sure you look for the WABC trolley. Will be part of the Veterans Day parade that begins at 12:30 this afternoon. Changes coming to the high school curriculum across New York State.
Starting next year, students will have to learn about personal finance in order to graduate from high school under new requirements approved by the New York Board of Regents. The Albany Times-Union reports it'll be introduced to students as early as the 4th grade, starting later this decade. Topics to be covered include budgeting, managing credit, saving, and investing. New York joins more than 24 states that make personal finance education a graduation requirement. I'm Larry Kofsky, NBC News Radio.
5:10. Maybe you've noticed if you've walked outside, it's awfully cold out this morning. First big Arctic blast of the season, hitting over 84 million from the Midwest all the way down to the Florida Panhandle. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis telling neighbors there to get ready because it's really cold for them.
It's a little nippy out. Yeah. I think we're getting the frozen tundra tomorrow, so I would rather be hot than cold. I think just as someone born and raised here, it just is what it is.
Yeah, we kind of know it comes with the territory that it's going to be in the 40s, though it goes back to the 50s the rest of the week. But it is a dramatic change for people in Miami who are seeing temps today in the 30s and the 40s.
I know it's going to be historic in other parts of the country, but we're going to be certainly in the northern part of Florida. It's going to get very, very low. So buckle up for that.
Yeah, parts of several states, including Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Georgia, North Carolina, could see lows 10 to 25 degrees below normal in the next 24 hours. 5:11. 3 former San Antonio police officers have been found not guilty of murder and the shooting death of a woman who was having a mental breakdown. Defense attorney Nico LaHood says their clients are feeling a sense of relief today.
I mean, we knew what the truth was, but you never know until the verdict comes back.
The cops were criticized for breaking both police training and policy in the shooting that killed Melissa Perez. She was waving a hammer at officers when they confronted her at her apartment complex. Their attorneys were able to convince the jury that the men feared for their lives that night. The defense attorney says he's not surprised it took the jury less than a day to come back with that verdict.
With a verdict, you never know, but we asked for a quick verdict, and we're glad that it came back quickly. The government had no expert witnesses. Their theory kept shifting throughout the trial, and we're just grateful that the jury saw it.
Yeah, the judge, Ron Rangel, says the men were found not guilty of both murder and lesser charges.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of the offense of aggravated assault as charged in count 2 of the indictment.
And you could see the sense of the release of officers' faces when that announcement was made yesterday. 5:12, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation looking again for another escaped inmate in Los Angeles County.
Alejandro A. Tobar Fuentes went missing from Francisquito Conservation Camp at about 10 o'clock last night. The 33-year-old is 5'5" and weighs 164 pounds with brown eyes and black hair. He was last seen wearing gray sweatpants, a gray sweatshirt, and an orange beanie. Tobar Fuentes had been at the facility since May after he was sentenced in Orange County. He was serving a 4-year, 8-month sentence for first-degree burglary and displaying a forged driver's license or ID. I'm Daniel Martindale.
The FAA NTSB called in to investigate a small plane crash. The plane crashed into a lake in Florida yesterday behind a Coral Springs home.
We have not found an entire plane yet. We believe that it may be broken into smaller pieces. We don't know yet. Of course, again, this is very preliminary. We're not assuming anything at this point. But again, they did dive the water, weren't able to find any victims at this time.
Yeah, well, they did find the victims. 2 people were killed. It was a wild scene. A backyard fence destroyed, some palm trees sheared as this landing gear landed in the backyard of this home in Coral Springs.
We are asking any residents in this neighborhood if you have any debris in your yard anywhere in this neighborhood, because the debris field is pretty large, we're asking you to contact the Coral Springs Police Department.
Yeah, 2 people killed after this plane that was carrying supplies to Jamaica crashed in this residential pond. Not clear what took place. NTSB, FAA are on the scene looking at this turboprop plane, which appeared to clip the edge of land while its nose slammed into the water. Now they'll try to figure out exactly what took place. 5:14, Supreme Court hearing arguments on a religious liberty case that's out of Louisiana. A devout Rastafarian who had his hair shaven by a prison guard is challenging the state's prohibition on inmates wearing dreadlocks.
It is undisputed that my client has alleged an assault that is just brazenly illegal.
Attorneys for Damon Lindor argue that the state's prison policy is a violation of his religious beliefs. Zachary Tripp telling the court that there's a federal law that protects against religious infringement by the state and local government.
They handcuffed him to a chair and shaved him bald. He was at respondents' mercy in federally funded custody when he handed them a copy of controlling precedent. They threw it away.
Yeah, they told the court that he pleaded with the guards to honor his sincerity of his religious beliefs, and they went against that. 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Alec.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start with a quick Monday Night Football recap, wrapping out Week 10 here. Final from Green Bay. Eagles beat the Packers 10-7 last night. But the bigger news out in the NFL, and of course here locally, the New York Football Giants have fired their head coach, Brian Daboll, much to your delight there, Noam.
Yeah, I called it yesterday, didn't I?
You did. You've been asking me for the last few weeks, I would imagine. I don't have to imagine. You have been asking me repeatedly.
Yeah, I was like, when are they going to do this?
Almost on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
When is Brian Daboll going to be out of town? When is he going to get the boot? When is he going to have to squeeze himself through that exit door? And it is official. The Giants making it official yesterday.
I like how you said squeeze himself through the door.
You see what I did there? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Assistant head coach and offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will serve as the Giants' interim head coach. Kafka was a finalist for multiple head coaching jobs over the past 2 years. Joe Schoen will remain the team's general manager and lead the search for the next head coach. No other changes to the coaching staff are being made at the moment. The Giants, 2-8 now on the year, have won just 2 of their first 10 games for the 3rd straight year. They are 11-33 since the start of the 2023 season. Daboll did, of course, win 2022 Coach of the Year in his first season with the Giants when they surprisingly went 9-7-1 and won a playoff game in Minnesota, but it's been mostly downhill from there. He was 20-40-1 as the Giants head coach. His .336 winning percentage puts him behind the likes of Ben McAdoo and Ray Perkins. That's pretty good company.
Yeah.
So, sayonara, Brian Daboll.
Don't let the door hit you on the way.
It probably will, though. Out in Jersey on the ice, Matthew Barzal scored at overtime. Elias Sorokin stopped 32 of the 34 shots he faced, and the Islanders bounced back from allowing the tying goal with just under 5 seconds left in regulation to beat the Devils 3-2. Up next for the Islanders, they'll visit the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday night to open up a 3-game Western Conference road trip. As for the Devils, they'll travel to Chicago tomorrow night to begin a stretch of 5 consecutive games away from home themselves. At the Garden, Mika Zibanejad scored to end a lengthy goal drought on home ice. Gabriel Perreault picked up his first NHL point, and the Rangers used an offensive outburst to defeat the Nashville Predators 6-3 for their first victory at Madison Square Garden this season. Artemi Panarin had 2 goals, and Vladislav Gavrikov and Will Cooley also scored, while Lafreniere had 3 points. Rangers matched their entire goal production from their first 7 home games when they were 0-6-1 and got outscored, 23-6 before facing struggling Nashville. Up next for the Rangers, they'll visit the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow night, looking to improve on their league best 7-1-1 road start. And you got a couple of basketball games to look forward to tonight as well. Both the Nets and the Knicks back in action, and 2 7:30 p.m. tip-offs to look forward to. Nets at home in Brooklyn. They'll welcome in the Toronto Raptors, and the Knicks, they will host the Memphis Grizzlies. That's your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:20. A group of transgender service members who served for years in the Air Force suing the Pentagon now, canceling their retirement benefits.
The suit was filed by the Air Force veterans who served from 15 to 18 years. President Trump this year ordered that all transgender troops be removed from the military. If they didn't voluntarily leave, the military said they'd be identified and expelled. The Air Force said those who served 15 to 18 years could apply for early retirement benefits, then reversed course and said no retirement benefits would be given. The military says the service members had the opportunity to apply for voluntary separation pay. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
California Governor Gavin Newsom speaking about climate change at the Milken Institute Symposium down in Brazil. Newsom says California has been leading the way in climate initiatives since Ronald Reagan was governor back in the 1960s.
That has impacted climate policy disproportionately in the United States of America. It's been part of our legacy, a bipartisan legacy going back a half century.
The The governor says California leaders, regardless of their political party, have been in support of clean air and improving the climate.
The Trump administration that is doing everything to put America in reverse, to do everything to vandalize California's leadership in this space.
The governor telling this conference that President Trump's trying to undo the progress made by California on climate initiatives. A woman in a stolen minivan managed to cross the border from San Diego into Mexico after a 3-hour chase across Southern California.
The car chase started at 10:30 a.m. in Thousand Oaks, with law enforcement chasing the woman across Ventura, Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego counties. She led highway patrol down the 5 and 805 freeways in San Diego before making it to the San Ysidro port of entry and crossing into Mexico. There were no injuries or crashes during the 3-hour chase. I'm Jack Cronin.
522, a New Mexico man charged in a double homicide, telling deputies that a cockroach told him to do it.
The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office says 25-year-old Alexis Hernandez was charged with 2 open counts of murder in connection with a Friday incident inside a Southwest Albuquerque home. The man allegedly said he received an encrypted message in a cockroach that he needed to kill. Hernandez then said he had to do what he had to do. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Let's go overseas. Jared Kushner meeting in Israel with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Correspondent Blake Sifton reports the president's son-in-law, the White House advisor, looking to settle this standoff over the presence of Hamas members in southern Gaza.
The U.S. is understood to be pushing for their safe passage to Palestinian-controlled areas of Gaza in exchange for them surrendering their weapons, out of fear that Israeli attempts to capture or kill them could cause the ceasefire to collapse.
It is believed as many as 200 Hamas members are thought to be trapped in tunnels behind Israeli military lines in Rafah. Kushner trying to sort this all out so the ceasefire doesn't fall apart.
Hamas said Sunday that its members in Rafah would not surrender to Israel, and Israel has rejected allowing them to leave, even if they give up their arms.
Yeah, those talks continue today. 523, Canada losing its measles elimination status with the U.S. at risk too. The Pan American Health Organization taking action against Canada yesterday after that nation failed to curb a measles outbreak for 12 consecutive months. PAHO is warning that the U.S. could follow in January if it doesn't curb an ongoing outbreak here. America's measles outbreak began in Texas in January of this year, then spread to New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Kansas, with current measles cases in Utah, Arizona, and South Carolina. The reappearance of measles being blamed on declining vaccination rates. 524, Dodger fans have donated $30,000 now to a children's hospital in Toronto.
Many fans donated $51 to the Toronto Hospital for Sick Children. It was in honor of Dodgers reliever Alex Vesia, who wears number 51. He missed the World Series due to a personal matter, later revealed to be the death of his baby daughter. It comes after about 150 Toronto fans donated to Seattle Children's Hospital during the American League Championship Series between the Blue Jays and Mariners. During the World Series, relievers for both the Dodgers and Blue Jays wore the number 51 on their hats in solidarity with Vesia and his family. I'm Daniel Martindale.
A new study suggests coffee may help protect against an irregular heartbeat.
More than 10 million Americans live with a heart disorder known as AFib that could lead to heart failure and blood clots. The research results of a 4-year clinical trial presented at the American Heart Association conference showed drinking just 1 cup of coffee per day appeared to have a protective effect on AFib recurrence. For a long time, doctors have tried to understand the impact coffee has on AFib. I'm Monica Nelson.
WABC News Time 525. Michael Jackson making history again, even though it's 16 years since his death. His classic Thriller re-entered the Billboard Hot 100 chart this week at number 10. It re-enters the chart every year because it's Halloween time, but it's a record that he's done it in every decade since the song came out back in 1982. He passes Andy Williams, who held placed in the top 10 in 5 distinct decades with his song, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. 525, turkey prices will be up 40% this Thanksgiving season over last year, largely thanks to the bird flu.
The Farm Bureau reports there were more than 600,000 cases of bird flu in September. It's expected that number will grow. It means turkey will cost $1.32 per pound on average. That's up 38 cents from 2024. But there's not much option on Thanksgiving, right? It is Turkey Day after all. Well, Baskin-Robbins suggests a spoon instead of the carving knife. And not for gravy, for ice cream. Baskin-Robbins has sold their turkey ice cream cake since the 1970s. That'll set you back about $45 with sugar cone legs. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
And even though Thanksgiving is still, 2 weeks away, the Butterball Turkey Hotline has now officially opened.
Many of you are trying to get a jump on things for the holiday, but come Thanksgiving Day, some 15,000 people phone into the Turkey Hotline with their number one question being how to thaw your turkey.
Hi, my name is Christopher with the Butterball Turkey Talk Line, and today we're going to talk about thawing your turkey. We can either thaw it in cold water, in your sink if your sink is large enough to accommodate the turkey, or in a cooler if it's not.
They say the best tool to have on hand is a meat thermometer because it's the only way to know if your turkey is thoroughly cooked and safe. The hotline phone number is 1-800-BUTTERBALL. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
In a moment, we'll tell you some of the worst places to retire. You might be able to guess right away. We'll do that in a second. But first, 527, traffic, transit on the 7s. Here's Joe Nolan.
My mother used to put the turkey on the counter for 3 days when it was frozen. She'd leave it out.
3 days? Is that healthy? I don't
No, of course not.
Okay, I didn't think so. And you survived somehow.
Oh, yeah, somehow we survived. But yeah, I just laugh at that. She used to do that all the
3
time.
days?
Yeah, well, it was a big frozen turkey, you know.
Yeah, but it was 30 pounds,
2 days,
20
maybe
pounds?
Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe. But it was out. Yeah, it was out on the counter.
You know, I had an uncle we used to go to his house, and he did this thing where he always cooked it too long. You know, he was always very proud of the fact that he got up at 4 a.m. to put the turkey in the oven. No. Sleep in, buddy, so we can get a nice moist turkey. But that never happened.
An old restaurant buddy of mine said you take those, you cut it, and then you put it in turkey soup, not turkey soup, turkey broth.
Right.
And that'll keep it nice and moist while you're waiting for everything else to get done.
Huh. I might have to try that.
I never tried it, but it's supposed to work. So.
Or you can do what James Flippin does.
What's that?
He deep fries his turkey.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
The only problem with that is you set your garage on fire sometimes. But,
at least careful. At least the turkey tastes good. So.
Yeah, it's great. Really, really good. And my son does that, too.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Clouds today. We could see some pop-up snow showers. The high is only going to be 42. Tonight and overnight, some clouds, low 37, and a little bit warmer for Wednesday, cloudy, high 49. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 33 clear in Tarrytown up in Westchester. It's 34 and clear in Irvington over in New Jersey. And it's 30 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:39. Newark Airport, LaGuardia, Kennedy will all be a mess again today. There were tons of delays yesterday. 50 flight cancellations, 60 delays just at Newark alone. And then we were looking at the numbers from the weekend. 2,700 flights were canceled on Sunday just alone. This all connected to the government shutdown, which, by the way, the Senate passed this bill that will keep the government open until January 30th last night. The House will have to come back and vote on it maybe by Wednesday. But the thought is the airports and the air traffic controllers may not all be back in place for a week, right? It could be the end of the week that this mess continues. So airlines have been scaling back flights just to make sure the skies are safe. That is, people who are going to the airport sometimes are not finding out till they get there that their flights are delayed or have been canceled.
We have had 2 cancellations today and now 3 delays, so we're feeling it, you know? We're going into D.C., but we 100% feel that.
I've been delayed probably hour and a half so far. So it's 7, now it's 8:30, so not too bad, but hopefully it just stays at an hour and a half.
The FAA says the decision necessary to keep travelers safe to reduce these flights. Many controllers have been working long hours, mandatory overtime, while lawmakers remain at this standstill over reopening the government. But like I said, it looks like a vote will come Wednesday to fully reopen. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, he was on with Sid and Friends in the morning yesterday, and what I thought was really interesting about this interview was he was explaining in detail just how bad it is at some of the airports with air traffic controllers. In some cases, 50% of them not showing up to work.
On Saturday, 18 of 22 controllers that were supposed to show up in Atlanta didn't come to work. In Southern California, we had other issues where we didn't have all the certified controllers that we needed. Absenteeism, to give you a whole number across the airspace, 57%.
I mean, that's crazy. And aside from the mandatory flight cancellations, there was runway construction at Newark Airport, so that's been contributing to the delays.
I'm hopeful at least that maybe everybody experiencing this chaos will kind of force our government's hand in becoming some form of functional, because Democrat, Republican, whoever you are, no one wants to deal with the madness that we have dealt with attempting to travel.
Yeah, but what Sean Duffy told Sid and Friends in the morning yesterday is even if the government shutdown ends officially on Wednesday, it could take time for things to get back to normal, maybe even a week. 542. California health officials now confirm 15 cases of infant botulism have been reported in 12 states. It's all linked to baby formula that has been recalled. The New Jersey Department of Health confirming one of the cases involves a 1-month-old in the northeastern part of the Garden State. Yesterday, out on Long Island, the Nassau County Health Department said they were monitoring a suspected case there. Health officials say the children might have gotten sick after being given by heart whole nutrition infant formula. If you have this stuff, you need to throw it out. Here's what doctors have to say.
Symptoms can range anywhere from mild to severe weakness. It typically is something that would start with poor feeding, constipation. Our children will not be as active as they normally would be.
Yeah, so officials say if you own the recalled formula, throw it out and also monitor your child, because they say the symptoms actually could take weeks to develop. But if they do, you can seek medical care and your child will likely be just fine.
Children commonly get this less than 1 year old because their bodies don't have the environment in their digestive system to interact with this.
Yeah, doctors say infant botulism grows in an infant's intestines and produces toxins. But again, if you get them to the doctors, they'll likely be okay. This is moms and friends of moms pretty worried.
I just think about my friends with kids, and I just know if any of their children got botulism, it would be, terrifying, because then you're their main food source. You can't trust it anymore.
Again, so the formula you want to watch out for, it's called By Heart Whole Nutrition Infant Formula. WABC News Time 5:44 up to Harlem, where police say a mom stabbed to death Monday, left to die inside her Harlem building by her ex-boyfriend, who police say waited for hours to ambush her and unleashed his attack, even as she was begging him to stop. There's apparently video of this. The unidentified 47-year-old mother of 4 cried out for help as she was being stabbed. This was about 4 a.m. inside of her apartment building on West 129th Street.
Earlier, there was a lot of blood, trails of blood, a big puddle. It's like all over the place. It's very sad, and the holiday's about to come up, so I know she won't be able to spend Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's with her family.
That's the neighbor who knew the mother of 4. Was a neighbor who called 911 upon spotting the woman drenched in blood, clinging to life near an elevator. Responding EMS workers rushing to help this critically injured mom. They took her to Mount Sinai Morningside Hospital, where unfortunately she passed away. And police do have a person of interest described as the victim's boyfriend in custody. As of this morning, they haven't told us of any charges, and neighbors continue to react.
She was friendly. She'll say good morning. I can help her with her bags, and she'll actually accept my help, things like that.
So she was just nice. She was a nice person. And it just affects everybody because it's like it's so close to home.
Yeah, well, of course. As the charges come out, we'll pass them on to you. In a moment, we'll hear from somebody who worked with Andrew Cuomo, who has the strangest explanation of why he decided to run for mayor after losing the primary. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Ella.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Quick Monday Night Football recap here. Final from Green Bay, the Eagles. They leave 7-2, beating the Packers 10-7 in a defensive battle. Packers now 5-3-1. But the bigger news here yesterday was locally, the New York Football Giants firing head coach Brian Daboll after the team blew another double-digit lead Sunday in Chicago. Assistant head coach and offensive coordinator Mike Kafka will serve as the Giants' interim coach. Kafka was a finalist for multiple head coaching jobs over the past 2 years. Joe Schoen will remain the team's general manager and lead the search for the next head coach. No other changes to the coaching staff are being made at the moment. Giants are 2-8 and have won just 2 of their first 10 games for the third straight year. They are 11-33 since the start of the 2023 season. Daboll won 2022 Coach of the Year in his first season with the Giants when they surprisingly went 9-7-1 and won a playoff game in Minnesota. He was 20-40-1 as the Giants head coach. His .336 winning percentage puts him behind the likes of Ben McAdoo and Ray Perkins.
Great company.
How will you remember the Daboll era?
Yeah, not very well, no. Though he did, didn't he get, did you mention that he got Coach of the Year?
Yeah, it started really bright.
Yeah.
Started really bright. Of course, Daniel Jones and that playoff win in Minnesota. Yeah. And then you get your quarterback finally, the one you want in Jackson Dart. But listen, Jackson Dart's good regardless. I don't think it has anything to do with Brian Daboll.
No, he'll just be fine.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll see where Daboll heads from here. Obviously, came to fame in the NFL, helping solidify the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen as that great offense out in Buffalo. So we'll see, if they want to bring him back over there, if he gets any more head coaching nods. We shall see, but he's out as the Giants head coach. To the NHL out in Jersey, Matt Barzal scored in overtime. Ilya Sorokin stopped 32 of the 34 shots he faced, and the Islanders bounced back from allowing the tying goal just under 5 seconds left in regulation to beat the Devils 3-2. Up next for the Islanders, they'll visit the Vegas Golden Knights on Thursday night to open up a 3-game Western Conference road trip. As for the Devils, they'll travel to Chicago tomorrow night to begin a stretch of 5 consecutive games away from home themselves. At the Garden, Mika Zibanejad scored to end a lengthy goal drought on home ice. Gabriel Perreault picked up his first NHL point, and the Rangers used an offensive outburst to defeat the Nashville Predators 6-3 for their first victory at Madison Square Garden this season. Up next for the Rangers, they'll visit the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow night, looking to improve on their league best 7-1-1 road start. And 2 NBA games here locally to look forward to tonight. Both the Nets and the Knicks back in action for 2 7:30 p.m. tip-offs. The Nets will welcome in the Toronto Raptors, and the Knicks, they will host the Memphis Grizzlies. That's your sports, Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani holding a press conference yesterday where he announced his first deputy mayor and his chief of staff. Mamdani announcing he's appointing Dean Fullahan as his first deputy mayor. Fullahan was the director of operations under the Giuliani administration. He has decades in the state assembly. He's got 74 years old. He's actually twice the age of Mayor Mamdani, Mayor-elect Mamdani. Here he was speaking at this press conference yesterday.
I am confident that experience, that my experience can be useful to the mayor-elect and this team. And I know there's no way to doubt it.
And if his name sounds familiar, he was also Mayor Bill de Blasio's first deputy mayor. And the first deputy mayor for Mamdani will be somebody is a close aide of his, Elle Biscard Church, who worked with him in the state assembly. She's been tapped to be first deputy.
We take seriously the responsibility of this mandate and all that it will take to run the city well. We will work relentlessly to make good on our campaign promises.
And you'll remember yesterday we played Governor Hochul was talking about making buses free in New York, and she was asked about this as she was at his conference in Puerto Rico over the weekend, and she said it's not going to happen on her watch. She has the final say. She says she's not going to make buses free. So here's what it sounded like, and then Mamdani responded that yesterday.
I cannot
set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of the buses and the subways.
These are not just slogans. These are commitments, and I look forward to delivering on them.
All right, so he's not backing down. He says it's going to make it happen. And following his second defeat to Zohran Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, now at a career crossroads after spending more than 40 years in the political eye. Will he run for governor again, another office? Well, Melissa DeRosa, she is one of Cuomo's most trusted aides, and she was on New York One last night. And they were asking her about the race for mayor and why Andrew Cuomo didn't do better. She had the oddest answer. She suggested that even after Cuomo lost in the primary to Mamdani, that he stayed in the race because he didn't want Mamdani to have a blowout. Like, he didn't even think he would win. Well, here, I'll play what she said.
We looked at some math and we decided that it was worth getting in. Not because we believed that we could prevail necessarily, but we believed that if we didn't get back in, you would end up with Zohran Mamdani having a landslide victory. That Eric Adams was polling, consistently in the high single digits, that Curtis Sliwa was not a serious contender, and that Zohran Mamdani would have sort of this runaway coronation, that none of his ideas would be contested, that he wouldn't be held accountable for any of his previous statements or for any of his beliefs that we found offensive on some level, particularly regarding Israel and stoking anti-Semitism. And we thought that it was a war worth waging, not because we would necessarily win, but because if we didn't do it, we thought that people would take all the wrong lessons from what happened in the primary.
Okay, so you got into the race even though you didn't think you could win. That makes a whole lot of sense. 5:53 funeral arrangements have been announced for Patrick Brady, the 11-year veteran of the FDNY who died while responding to that all-hands-on-fire in Brooklyn Saturday night. His wake will be at the Marine Park Funeral Home in Brooklyn. That'll be on Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., then again from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The funeral will be held at the Church of St. Francis de Sales in Bell Harbor. That'll be on Saturday at 11 a.m. The funeral, by the way, will be streamed on the FDNY website. The 42-year-old, if you didn't follow this story, was operating on the roof of a building on Kings Highway in Brooklyn on Saturday when he suffered a medical episode and went into cardiac arrest. He died a short time later. His ties to New York's bravest, they really run deep. His two brothers, Jimmy and Brian, both FDNY firefighters. His cousins and uncles, also FDNY firefighters. He lived in Far Rockaway, Queens, and survived by his wife, Kara. Again, the wake will be on Friday. His funeral will be on Saturday, and if you want to watch it for sure, you can stream that on the FDNY's website. 5:55, out to Long Island, where a quiet North Shore Long Island community shaken early yesterday morning after a man was found fatally injured near the Stony Brook Yacht Club. Suffolk County Police investigating the case as a homicide. They identified the victim yesterday as 52-year-old Christopher Millwater. He's from Selden. His body found about 4 in the morning. They don't really know what happened to him. Neighbors say it's normally very quiet here.
That doesn't happen around here. Around here, there's hardly any crime or violence. That's why I moved here. So it's very surprising and shocking.
Yeah, homicide detectives were seen working the scene much of the day yesterday, focusing their attention on a Porsche that was parked near the area. So far, they haven't given us a whole lot more details. And, of course, today is Veterans Day. There's a tribute being held at the Intrepid Sea Air Museum on Manhattan's West Side. That'll be at 3:30, and then the big parade that's earlier in the day that starts at 12:30, and you can find us at our booth, and you'll see our trolley at the corner of 28th and 5th Avenue. So if you're on the parade route, make sure you come by and say hello. And there have been veterans salutes all weekend long. Up in Yorktown, they had a huge parade there on Sunday.
We appreciate it very much, and very happy to see these people in the turnout, especially the young people who are out here marching. It was wonderful to see them.
It was nice to see the Veterans Day celebrations across the tri-state over the weekend. They do that in anticipation of that most people will come to the celebration here in Midtown today.
I attend every year, and this is a pretty good turnout.
A sign of respect. A sign of respect for those who put their lives on the line.
Again, if you're out on the parade route today, come say hi to us. We'll be at the corner of 28th and 5th. That parade, if I'm not mistaken, kicks off at 12:30 today.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder, what the heck is going on here? If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.